As many of you know, a flying knee is one of my favorite techniques. It's something which is so fun to throw. It doesn't matter if it's within fights or at the gym in sparring, or even better, on pads. Bag work, shadow boxing, that's where it's really fun. To just soar up in the air and execute something super awesome. Today I'm going to give you 6 reasons, 6 things that you can work on, which will help your flying knee be so much better. We're about to move in to Labor Day weekend, and as part of the celebration, we have 33% off. Save $50 on my defense course. We talk about all sorts of different defense, the Dutch guard, how to get head work going, how to have MMA gloves on and still defend yourself, drills which you can utilize with a partner, solo training, everything that helped me stay safe as I won these belts. Big savings, guys. Link down below. Jump on this defense course at Varga Combat. Now, we are talking about flying knees, something which I love to execute. So much fun to throw in the gym. And we have 6 things, 6 reasons why you might be struggling with them. So let me just pull in something that I can actually throw the knees against here. And one of the very first things, I guess I'm going to mention right now that I'm not going to knee up at head level, because very often when I knee him here, his whole head collapses and I end up just flying through. So hopefully kneeing him in the upper chest will serve me a little bit better, keep me a little safer. So one of the first ways which people really struggle is to understand which type of knee they're executing and what the difference is, because there are little elements which are really going to throw you off. So first, I just want to explain to you the 3 types of flying knees. And then from there, hopefully you can start deciding at different distances, which we'll talk about, and different exit strategies from the ground, which again, we'll talk about, which one will serve you best. So to start off, we have the flying knee, where we bring our knee upwards and both feet exit the ground at the same time. I execute a little scissor of my legs. And as I do that, I throw my flying knee. Boom. That's the first one. The next one is a scissor knee, where you actually lift one in the air, kind of similar to, the scissor front kicks, but you execute your scissor knee, and you can see I've moved forward on that one. The third and final is now coming completely forward off one foot and throwing this knee into the head as I cover loads of distance across the ground. Number 1, coming like this. Number 2, scissoring, and then number 3, flying right in. These are the 3 which you need to understand, and you need to be able to pick and choose which one is appropriate for you given so many circumstances. Now, once we understand that, we can talk about how can we properly exit the ground, because so many people mess up the way they exit and the way they land, and it destroys all the technique of their flying knee. And then they kind of go, well, I feel like I can't even do this correctly, so I'm not going to bother. So we have 2 ways which we can do this. It's very important that if we exit with both feet at the same time, when we're doing that knee upwards, which we just talked about, that I land on both feet. I come off and I come back on both feet. This allows me to maintain balance. If I go off on 2 feet and back on 1, it's so hard. And similarly, if I'm doing one of the scissor knees or the flying one across the room, if I come off on 1 foot, I want to land on 1 foot. Or same when I do my scissor knee, I exit on the right knee, but now I land strictly on the left. When we clean that up, 2 feet exit, 2 feet land, or 1 foot exits, 1 foot lands. When we do that, all of a sudden, so many of our problems just evaporate. Before we move on to point number 3, big shout out to XMartial for being a partner of not just this episode, but the whole channel. You guys can grab rash guards, hoodies, t-shirts, shin pads, gloves, so many other awesome things, and I have the promo code Gabriel Varga to save you 10%, link down below. And now moving on, since we've talked about which flying knees are the options and how to exit the ground, we need to understand knee angles. And depending on which way I exit the ground, which knee is going to be best for me. So when I throw one of my scissor knees, I can kind of choose, do I want to come upwards or straight in? That's the one that's just a little bit open to interpretation. And we need to remember that pad holders in particular do not always hold the same way. They could say, okay, I want a flying knee. But they could also go, I want a flying knee. Question is, do you know which knee you should be doing in that moment? If they go like this, you have to do the in tight one where both feet come off the ground and you execute upwards. That makes sense, right? I'm not going to be trying to cover distance with both feet coming off the ground at the same time. I'm going upwards. But I can also do the scissor knee in that instance and just go, okay, I'm not going to try and cover lots of distance. But if they change the pad to here, now I'm going to exit off one foot all the time and either come in this way or cover lots of distance and come in that way. Both of those are fine, but understanding those angles are so important. Now, a couple of finer details here. First, we're going to talk about pointing the toes. And you might go, why does that matter on a knee? Right? I'm throwing a knee. Who cares what my toes are doing? But try to pull your heel to your bum with your toes pulled up versus toes pointed, where it just flexes up so much easier. And what we want to make sure we're doing, especially when we're throwing the knees that are coming straight through, is really get the heel tight. When we come upwards, we still want to keep that toe pointed. It's going to help clean everything up so much. It looks better, but it also helps you execute a better knee. So as I go to throw, I don't want to have my toes up in a front kick position. I want to think I'm going round kick style. Round kick on this leg. When I land, I can pull it back. But again, if I'm going for my flying knee, the right foot is going to point. Toes pointed, foot arched, and getting that really solid positioning there, because the more stability I have through all of this, the better this knee is going to look and feel. So really work that as you execute. Moving on now, I want to talk about how you protect the head, because it's very important. The head is protected. If we don't protect the head, and then you go to throw the flying knee and somebody hits you, you're going to go, yeah, I don't want to do that again. Because with both feet off the ground and getting hit, you feel extra rattled. So what are the two ways that we can go about protecting the head? So even if my pad holder goes flying knee and he swings at me, I'm not going to get caught. Well, number one, and this is actually one of my big preferences, is just to jump high. Right? I'm trying to maximize my height distance anyway, which we're going to talk about. But I want to make sure that if this guy, like if I'm 5'6" and I'm down here and this guy jumps to throw a flying knee and now he goes to throw at the head, I can't even reach. So really trying to get some good height on that knee is definitely going to help you. It's going to make things so much better in terms of dangers. And of course, I don't have to leave my hands down here when I throw my flying knees. I can still have my hands up. But I don't necessarily need to worry about, okay, protecting the head the same way I would if I throw a body knee, because I'm up so high. So if I'm going with my body from here to here, my hands don't necessarily have to follow me. I can just sort of go like this, and people have to punch upwards and end up hitting the arms anyway. But making sure that with either height or with hand positioning, we're protecting the head, that's so important. It's going to keep you safer, plus it helps with balance, because just having your arms kind of out like this, it kind of messes with everything. But having them in place, whether it's tight to the body where I do this, or whether it's having them up here, all of that helps. And if you're somebody who likes the long guard, you can absolutely use this. Just don't put it right in their face, because that will actually stop your knee. I just go off to the side slightly, and then from there, I end up in this great position where I've really protected my head very well. The final thing which I want you to understand, and where many people struggle, now that we've talked about so many elements, is distance. If I'm here, which knee should I be throwing? If I'm here, which knee should I be throwing? And if I'm out here, which knee should I be throwing? Because a pad holder is not always going to be at that perfect range. They're not going to always say, okay, jab, cross, hook, and now throw the knee and put it right in that ideal position. You need to be able to make the adjustments and understand which one to throw based on where they are. So we talked about that little jump, and if we execute that one, we're in tight. Maybe I grab this guy's head and I have him here. And I know I can't scissor knee him very well, and I know I can't fly forward, but I can definitely take both feet off the ground at the same time, boom, hit him in the head. Or if you have somebody in front of you who's like this, perfect time. But if they're more at this range, you might go, you know what? It's time for a scissor knee. I'll do a short scissor knee distance-wise if I'm trying to come upwards, and a long one if I'm trying to cover distance. But I'm still not too far away. I don't have to be back here for a big scissor knee. Just in this zone, give a couple punches, and then boom, and execute. The final one, which is great for more distance, more like, okay, I'm outside of front kick range, is when I come off one foot, I land on this same foot, and I punch my knee forward towards them. That one is great. And when we understand these distances, now when the pad holder is like this far away and he goes here, you know, yeah, I'm gonna fly. But if you just finished a big punch combo and they go knee, you go, okay, I'm just gonna jump and spring off both feet. When you understand all that, the flying knees really start to click together and you feel so good. So much fun executing them. Plus they're a great workout. I did a workout one time, or part of the training session, where I just went, okay, we have partners. One partner is gonna execute 75 flying knees in a row, and now the other guy will go when we're done. That takes a lot of time. When the pad holder's like, flying knee, flying knee, flying knee. And you just get more and more and more tired. I think I remember it taking like 4 minutes or 5 minutes or something like that. Granted, this was a while ago, but they're good for the heart. They're gonna get your legs firing. So flying knees, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you learned something. You can now go and have some fun with these techniques, which are so cool, but difficult for many people to execute correctly. Thanks for joining me, guys. As always, train hard. I will see you back here soon for another video.